I'm Eric Singer, Gazette.com, and this is PPAR Cares About the Community, the Pikes Peak Association of Realtors. And we have two important topics to talk about, and we have two veteran realtors to introduce to you. Debbie Howes, thank you so much for being here. And Charles DeLessio, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, let's get right into it because this affects your community and your family. It's the Construction Defect Action Reform Act. First, let's understand it. It's a mouthful, so let's understand it.
Construction defect is an act trying to allow that a construction professional may go back in and correct imperfections in a home for folks that would like to get attainable workforce type housing in a multifamily. We've had very little multifamily for sale be built in the since 2007. It's basically dropped to zero permits in all of Colorado. Our current listings are down 45% in townhouses, condos for sale. The first-time home buyers and even seniors that want to downsize from single-family homes can afford or even have any to look at.
So what's the problem?
It all started in 2001 with the Reform Act, and some of the folks that were fighting it would go in and do a forensic inspection and tear a unit apart and file lawsuits. And there have been several things, mostly semantics, definitions. But in the last 4 years, our legislature has tried to pass some additional so that we can get some more attainable type housing for the first-time home buyers in the move-down market. And the state has shot it down all the time. Colorado Springs in December passed a local ordinance trying to establish and fixing it, and along with 12 other local municipalities. So we think we're trying to do it on the local level, and maybe the state will follow.
And the solution to it is in the state legislature to pass some kind of legislation to make it so that the construction industry feels comfortable, and then ultimately it trickles down to the home purchaser who will be able to find affordable housing.
Yes, right now all the multifamily is being built for rental, which are high rents, and it's not really attainable for those folks that are looking for more attainable workforce housing.
All right,
and we would like to be able to get them to be homeowners.
Well, I wish you the best, and I wish our community the best to make sure that this legislation does get passed. And of course, PPAR cares about the community and will make sure to continue to be that watchdog in the legislature to make sure something happens. Thank you, Debbie. And now to the second very important topic that you need to know about, Charles DeLessio, talking specifically about the National Flood Insurance Program. Let's understand it first.
Well, the National Flood Insurance Program was an act that came about in 1968 to help augment flood insurance. It was very expensive for people to protect their home and valuables. So what has happened recently is being able to afford the insurance and be able to get the insurance. There's about 80 different companies that you can work with to try to get this flood insurance to protect your home.
So what's the problem then? We know that there's that insurance that's available. What's the problem?
Well, there's a couple of problems, Eric. It's a great question. One is that when Hurricane Katrina happened, it put the National Flood Insurance Program in debt by about $18 billion. So they had to borrow money, and now there's concern that rates may go up. So the President of the United States and the Congress acted to try to control some of those costs, but also be able to augment some of those issues that may come up when somebody does file a claim.
Now, we always talk about flood insurance. We've seen it in Manitou and other parts of the Pikes Peak region, but a lot of times people are slow to get it. Best source of information. We know the internet, but are there some specific websites or other avenues to make sure that you're getting the right information?
Well, that's a great question too. Yeah, it's a big concern for our community because of the floods that we've had. And really what you want to do is you want to go and talk to your insurance professional. The good news is FEMA kind of controls the basis for all of those flood rates. So every insurance carrier is basically going to have the same coverage. And you can even get additional coverage if that's something that you need to cover a more expensive home or area that you live in. But the internet, if you just type in NFIP, then you can get a plethora of information about where to get that insurance.
All right, thank you so much. And two important topics. Charles DeLessio, thank you for joining us. And of course, Debbie Howes, thank you so much also for joining us. Two important topics discussed by the Pikes Peak Association of Realtors because once again, PPAR cares about the community. I'm Eric Singer, Gazette.com.